in this chapter of Berserk, Chapter 9, in Volume 3, the beginning of the Golden Age arc, the very first chapter, we get to learn more about where Guts came from, what he went through when he was a kid, and so forth. And I'm starting to realize why he is the way he is. Now, obviously, I'm just scraping the surface on what happens in uh, his childhood and what's going on with him and everything else, his past. I really enjoyed the fact, we come up on this scene where these skeletons are hanging or whatever. People are hanging from a tree, and at the feet or underneath one of the hanging bodies is a baby with the umbilical cord still attached to that baby. And this turns out to be Guts. And just so happens a mercenary band is passing by. And this woman runs out, this woman named Shisu or whatever, and grabs the baby. And we start to learn about some other key characters in Guts' past. Shisu, this guy named Gambino, who's apparently like the head of the mercenary group that they're a part of. And we find out that this woman had a miscarriage 3 days ago, and all the other mercenaries think like, okay, maybe she wants to grab this baby because she's trying to console her own, her own feelings for the fact that she lost her baby. And then one of the guys even says, wasn't that supposed to be your child, Gambino? And he's like, hell if I know. So immediately it tells me that, she sleeps around. However, I'm assuming since they're a mercenary group, the way it works is they have women that come along with them on long journeys, and they're just basically like concubines, kind of like they just fuck these women. So that's why they weren't quite sure whose child it was. That's why Gambino was like, hell if I know. And then Gambino's like, the baby's already dead, but then she drops the baby and Guts starts to cry. So they take the baby along, and basically this Gambino allows it, whatever. Apparently it's a bad omen, and that type of work that they do, they're mercenaries, it's a bad omen to take a child like that at a death scene, basically, where all these other corpses were, because they put their line on they put their life on the line every day. 3 years pass. Guts is now 3 years old, and we see his mother, I say that loosely because it's the person that raised him, is dying from the Black Plague. And they're like, where's Gambino? You think he'd want to be with his woman. I guess, even though she was a prostitute or whatever, that's at least what I'm assuming, she still kind of just dealt with Gambino sort of exclusively for the most part, I guess. It was his woman, but he was at a siege, so instead Guts was at her side. There's a touching moment with it, he's holding her hand and this and everything. Then 3 more years passed, and Guts is 6 years old. And he's living with the mercenary group still. I guess Gambino is like his guardian. And, the whole scenario with Gambino and Guts, at first I'm like, okay, he's showing Guts like some tough love. And then it seems like Guts is starting to grow on him because, they're doing a sword battle, this, that, and the other thing. And there's a scene where Guts gets actually cuts him, and the guy like slices Guts' nose. That's where Guts has that scar, in the beginning of the book. And the other mercenary guys were like, that was a little too much, don't you think, Gambino, this, that, and everything. And they call him sir. And then that's when Guts, we see him suffering from this wound. He can't breathe, there's blood in his nose, he has a high fever, this, and everything. He grabs onto the sword and he holds it like a teddy bear. And that's when you start to realize this is like his security blanket, the sword is. And when he was training with Gambino, one of the guys was like, why don't you use a weapon more suitable for your size? Which is hilarious because, as you guys know, he uses that big-ass sword when, he's an adult. So he kind of developed that habit of using a weapon like that at a young age. And the next day we see him training. He's supposed to be getting water for the group, but he's training. He does 100 sword slashes. Gambino shows up and actually throws him some medicine. And Guts says thank you, but then Guts kind of realizes maybe it was just to soothe his own guilty conscience. So at this point I'm like, okay, maybe Gambino is not that, wow, the fucking phone's ringing. Maybe Gambino is not that bad of a guy. You know what I mean? Then 3 more years pass, okay? Guts is 9 years old, and he's on the battlefield with these mercenaries. Okay? And Guts actually manages to kill a full-grown adult on this battlefield. Then he gets attacked by this like big giant dude with like that weapon that spins. It has balls on it. Gambino saves him, tells him not to, do not, uh, treat this like a training session. You kill one, move on. The battle ends, and at that point, I'm like, you know what? Gambino's okay. However, there's something else there. Because there's a point where Guts goes and gets the reward money for the mercenaries, gives it to Gambino. Gambino throws him one little coin, and I'm like, you know what, man? It almost seems like Gambino's just using him. Um, you know, okay, he's training him and everything, but he's using him. He's using Guts to do his work, to do whatever. It's an extra person for the mercenary. But then we see Guts run off, and there's this big, like, dark skinned dude named Donovan, and he calls out for Gambino, and the chapter ends with Donovan entering Guts's tent and then grabbing him, while Guts is going for his sword. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Right now, are you serious? This is going to happen right now. And then, I'm starting to realize why Guts might be the way he is. He can't trust anybody. He cannot trust anybody. I know it's going to happen. I mean, you can just tell by this scene right here. Don't even know if I'm allowed to show this on camera, but whatever. This scene right here, man, where he grabs Guts. And he's going to rape Guts. He's going to rape this child. Do you know how emotionally breaking that is for anybody in general, but to do this to a child? It's fucked up. Okay, you're violating him. You're corrupting his mind. You're making him very, very. They're already vulnerable enough. Okay, so I can see why Guts doesn't really trust anybody. If this is what's going to go down and nobody stops this from happening, which I don't think anybody will, because Gambino would be the only one that could stop it, and Gambino seems to be the one that told Donovan to go ahead and do it. Probably paid Gambino some money to rape his fucking, boy. You know what I'm saying? So I can see why Guts doesn't trust people if this is going to go down. He was born without parents. Shisu was kind of a mother to him. She passed away. He even heard some of the guys saying that he's a bad omen. Maybe that's why Shisu died from the Black Plague, because of Guts. He brought her bad luck. That probably is wearing on his brain. Having to fight and murder and kill at such a young age, at 9 years old, can change. Can play a role in a child's development. And at 6 years old, he was already, from the very beginning he was born, he was surrounded by death. That's the best way I can put it. From the moment Guts was born, he was surrounded by death. Okay, he was born, his mother was hung. 3 years old, his adoptive mother, Shisu, passes away from the Black Plague. 6 years old, he is watching his mercenaries, his mercenary guardians, killing people and doing mercenary work. 9 years old, he's doing the killing himself. It plays a major role in a child's development. I mean, it has to leave them. You got to grow up fast. And now you got this dude with this dude Donovan, who is apparently going to rape him. And that is just going to shatter any trust that Guts has for anybody, because Guts is probably going to find out that Gambino allowed it, and he trusted Gambino. He started to form a relationship with Gambino. He viewed Gambino as maybe a father figure. Now this happens. Definitely not cool. I still love the series. It's a brilliant piece of art. The writing is a masterpiece. It's very controversial, you know what I mean? But it's great to see what Guts had to go through, and I'm still reading it, but I'm only seeing a little bit of what he had to go through as a child, and it's great. It's showing basically why he is the person he is, in the present time, as an adult. But let me know your thoughts on the chapter, guys. I kind of rambled on a little too much, and I apologize if I sound different. I got like a fucked up tongue or something. My tongue hurts. Like the video if you feel I deserve it, if you want to see more Berserk reviews, because the more likes I see on these reviews, it gives me the motivation to continue doing these. If I don't have the motivation, I'll just read it in my personal time. But hit the like button if you enjoyed it, guys. Subscribe if you're a new viewer. If you're a fan of Berserk, you're a fan of Hunter x Hunter, you're a fan of Toriko, you're a fan of if you're a fan of anime and manga in general, and I do unboxing videos as well and pickup videos, hit that subscribe button, guys. It truly does mean a lot. And let me know your thoughts on the chapter. If you watched the whole video, the whole 10 minutes and 30 seconds, put in the comment section below, fuck Donovan. And if you want to keep it PG, screw Donovan. Fucking that shit pisses me off what I just read at the end of that chapter. Because everything kind of seemed hopeful for Guts. You know, he was starting to look up to somebody, and then all of a sudden this happens now. You know, this dude Gambino betrays Guts. But just put that in the comment section below, along with your comments and your thoughts. Just let me know what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching my review for Berserk Chapter 9, the first chapter in the Golden Age arc. Volume 3, the end of Volume 3. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next video.